Soothsayers, the Old Testament called them those of a familiar spirit. Be careful who you're around, brothers and sisters. When the book says evil communications corrupt good manners, there are many people that carry a very wicked spirit. This is one reason why I never could comprehend why any man or any woman who's in the body of Christ have an interest in studying witchcraft.
Just worship me. I'll give you everything. He wants worship because he aspires, folks. Satan aspires to go way back up there where he was cast down from. Ezekiel 28 says, "Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth." Look up that word covereth, and you'll see that he had a commanding position over all creation.
The Society of the Hammer of Witches. In the shadows of the Renaissance, a secret society of witch hunters existed. The Hammer of Witches, a book penned by the Inquisition, served as their manifesto. Members ranged from aristocrats to peasants, all united by a desire to rid the world of witches. The leader of the group was a wealthy merchant named Giovanni. He had inherited the position from his father, who had been a member before him. Giovanni was convinced that the devil had infiltrated every aspect of society, and that the only way to protect humanity was to hunt down and eliminate all witches. The same witches that fed him his power. The reciprocal relationship, him giving them power, subverted from heaven, poisoned by his fall. To achieve their goal, the society had established a network of spies and informants. They infiltrated every level of society, from the highest echelons of government to the lowest ranks of the working class. They operated in secret, using code words and secret symbols to communicate. One of the most successful members was a young apprentice named Matteo. He had been taken in by the society after his parents were accused of practicing witchcraft. Matteo had been trained in the art of witch hunting and quickly rose to the ranks of the organization. The society's main base was in a small town in Tuscany. From there, they coordinated their operations across the region. One of their most daring missions took place during the famous siege of Florence. The society had received intelligence that a group of witches was using the chaos of the siege to carry out their dark deeds. They knew that they had to act fast if they were going to prevent a catastrophe. Matteo was sent on a reconnaissance mission to gather intelligence on the witches. He posed as a beggar and wandered through the streets, eavesdropping on conversations and gathering information. Eventually, he managed to locate the witches' hideout, a small cottage on the outskirts of the city. Under cover of darkness, the society's members descended on the cottage. They stormed inside, weapons drawn, ready to face whatever horrors lay within. But to their surprise, they found only a group of women and children huddled in fear. The women explained that they were not witches, but simple peasants who had been accused of practicing magic by a rival village. They had fled to Florence for a refuge, hoping to escape the persecution of their accusers. But now with the society's arrival, they feared they would be hunted down and executed. Matteo was torn. He had been trained to believe that all witches were evil, and that they must be destroyed at all costs. But he could see the fear and desperation in these women's eyes, and he knew that they posed no threat to anyone. In the end, Matteo made a decision that would change the course of his life. He turned against the society, helping the women and children escape to safety. He knew that he would be branded a traitor, and that his former comrades would stop at nothing to hunt him down. But he also knew that he could not live with the guilt of being a part of a group that hunted innocent people, even if the guilty would inevitably be among those innocent. And so he vanished into the shadows, hoping to find a way to atone for his sins. The society continued to operate for many years, hunting down witches and spreading fear throughout the land. Eventually, as the Renaissance gave way to the Age of Enlightenment, their power waned. People of Europe began to question the existence of witches and the legitimacy of the Inquisition. And slowly but surely, the Society of Witch Hunters faded into obscurity, a relic of a bygone era. But the legacy of the witch hunters did not disappear entirely. Their knowledge and methods were passed down through the generations, and there were those who still believed in their cause. In the 19th century, a group of wealthy and influential individuals resurrected the society. calling themselves the New Hammer. As the years went on, the New Hammer of Witches Society grew increasingly brutal in their methods. They became more and more convinced that witches were a dire threat to society, and that they needed to be eradicated at all costs. Their tactics became more extreme, and they began to use torture and other forms of brutality to extract confessions from those accused of witchcraft. And in the most extreme cases, they resorted to a brutal form of execution, smashing the accused with an actual sledgehammer. It was a horrific and barbaric practice, but one that has been practiced since the beginning of the society in secret. But they believed that it was necessary to send a message to the other witches to show them that they would not be tolerated. One such execution took place in the early 1950s when the society caught a group of witches operating in rural Pennsylvania. The accused were brought before a tribunal of the society's members, and they were found guilty of practicing witchcraft. All 5 members were taken to an open field where blocks of wood were set up for their heads. They were tied to the block of wood, and then the execution. The society's leaders ordered that the accused be executed by sledgehammer. The witches were brought to a remote location in the woods where they were bound and blindfolded, and then, one by one, they were smashed to death with a sledgehammer wielded by one of the society's members. But it did little to stop the spread of witchcraft, which continued to thrive in secret despite their efforts. They justified their brutality and senselessness when one witch was found having eaten 3 children and had killed the 4th right before they arrived. And so the New Hammer Witches Society continued their mission, operating in secret and striking fear into the hearts of those who practiced witchcraft. But there were others who opposed them, who believed that the society's methods were cruel and unjust. And in time, these voices grew louder, calling for an end to the witch hunts and the persecution of those accused of witchcraft. Today, the legacy of the witch hunters lives on, both in the shadows and in the light. There are those who continue to hunt witches in secret, using brutal methods to root out those whom they believe to be a threat to society. But there are also those who fight against them, who believe in a world where all are free to practice their beliefs without fear of persecution. And as for Sarah, she continued to live in hiding for many years, always looking over her shoulder for the society's agents. But in time, she found a community of like-minded individuals, people who believed in the power of magic and the importance of standing up against tyranny. And together they worked to fight against the legacy of the witch hunters, to bring an end to the persecution and brutality that had defined the society for centuries. It was a long and difficult fight, one that was far from over. But they knew that they were on the right side of history, or so they thought.